Madre mía,
Listo. Y
¿dónde está
así,
Fernando?
desde Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee.
Sí, por acá ando.
Hay unas herramientas que se llaman
Por
Milwaukee.
acá ando con el Jerry.
Hola.
Jerry Olla.
Jerry Olla. Hola, hola Jerry. Hola Jerry Olla.
De Riola.
Vale.
So, me
¿Qué
vine
son,
por
qué
aquí.
son eso? ¿Aruba lo que tiene detrás?
Pues hay de todo ahí, a ver
De
qué veo.
todo.
Meraki, Aruba,
Aruba,
Juniper.
Cisco. Sí,
Empecemos de
sí,
arriba
Cisco.
para abajo.
ese es un Cisco 2802, la arriba.
Cisco
Después
2802.
un
Ruckus
Ruckus 700 debe ser ese, ¿no?
750, no.
That's a Wi-Fi 7. Ruckus.
Oh, Wi-Fi 7.
Yeah,
Ruckus.
was that 670?
Ah, el nuevo.
I don't remember what that is.
Mhm.
Yeah, 670.
670.
Ese.
Wi-Fi 7.
No.
Y es el nuevo. Y al lado es un
That's a
R700.
Ruckus 700
Oh,
probably.
yeah,
or
Yeah.
that's an old one.
7982.
Or 700.
Mm,
700.
700. Es Ubiquiti, Aruba.
Aruba. That's
Yeah.
an old Aruba.
That's not an AP. That's a controller. It's a wannabe.
Oh, it's not an AP?
Yeah, it's a false AP on the wall.
Okay, let's see. Read AI. What's that?
Miguel and Miguel Angel added. Yeah.
So this is like what is this
That's a
exactly?
controller or a gateway.
Oh, okay. But they don't use this anymore, do they?
It's a good lab.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's yeah. I think it's
Controller
supported and everything.
switch.
It's really slow.
I bet.
Yeah, like a boot up time is really slow. That's the only pain.
Oh, like Cisco.
But it's really
Takes
capable.
like 15 minutes to boot an AP.
Yeah. You can do a lot with it. It just takes a long time to reboot.
Otro Aruba. Exterior.
Mhm.
Exteriores.
One directional,
Mist.
one omnidirectional.
Oh, these are different ones?
Yeah, these are
Look about the
different.
same.
They look the same, but they're different. One's a directional antenna, one's omnidirectional. Yeah, this is a 565. That should be a 567. Yeah, 567. So that's a directional. it's
So
omnidirectional.
whatever ends in a 7 or a so what it ends in 4 is an external antenna, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And then a 5, is there a 5?
5 would be omni.
Omni.
So like this is a 565. That's outdoor omni. 567. That's outdoor directional.
All right.
Mhm.
And he knows Aruba porque él trabajó en Aruba. You worked in Aruba, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a 635, and the 735s are in use, so they're not on display.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's
what-
736.
That looks like a MR42.
Oh yeah, I don't even know. That's an old one.
Es Meraki.
Luis is
Yeah.
from Meraki.
Let's see.
Meraki.
To work at Meraki. MR32.
Oh, 30.
Oh, 32. That's even older.
Yeah.
Good thing it's not a 34. Those are.
You recognize this one?
Oh, yeah, that's a MR16 ish.
Close,
Or-
yeah,
or an
that's
18.
18.
An 18, or yeah.
The classic,
18.
classic MR18.
Y a ver, y
Mhm.
por acá hay más. Este está más viejo
Well,
todavía.
Cisco 2602 or 27. 26 or 27.
35.
We're going through memory lane.
3502.
Oh, 3502, yes.
Those are the antiques.
Oh, look. Uno de
This
los
is Flipper.
prohibidos. 515?
No, 5. Oh, actually, yeah, that is a 515. You're right.
I'm never wrong,
Never.
except when I'm wrong. This time I wasn't. It's just too clean.
The
Ya uno está
530.
acostumbrado a ver esos 515 todos sucios. I think it was the only one that had like not a shiny finish, huh?
Well, all those series. So
Oh,
that's
those
why I wasn't sure
series.
if it was a 515 because there's a 535, which is similar size, slightly bigger, and there's a 555, which
And
is
they're like
even
that
bigger.
opaque thing that you just looked at them, they got dirty. That's like one of the.
Oh yeah,
this-
these ones, yeah, they
Yeah.
got scuffed up pretty easily. Yeah.
This looks like a Cape Networks access
Yeah.
point with sensor.
Mhm.
So this is a Nuxi or
That's
how
a
do you call that?
UXI sensor.
UXI,
Yeah.
which used to be Cape Networks. Yeah, they told one.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, old what is that? 215, I think, or 225.
Yeah, it has to be a. Where is it? 205.
205. Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. Bueno, pues sin más ni más, Todos los pies. Para los que no saben, Jerry Olla es básicamente el creador de lo que es WLAN Pie. Consider yourself like the creator of WLAN Pie, right? Kind of like started
I always just refer to it as a community project. It doesn't.
a
doesn't
community
really-
project, yeah, but it kind of started with the idea of having a small little computer to work with.
Yeah.
So, all right, con esto oficialmente empezamos la sesión 254 de Tesos en Wi-Fi. Hoy es viernes, abril 11 del 2025. Ando por acá en Wisconsin, que me vine a Milwaukee con Jerry a la casa del que él tiene ya configurado los APs estos de Aruba para hacer. En Phoenix, él hizo una presentación que se llama Roaming Wars y es de varios dispositivos mirando a ver cuándo hacen roaming, cuándo se pasa un dispositivo de una AP a otro AP. Entonces, ¿qué es lo que tiene que hacer uno para hacer las pruebas? Pues si tiene varios APs, conectarse a uno y caminar cerca al otro a ver cuándo se pasa el uno al otro. Pues entonces, se pueden ustedes imaginar lo tedioso que es el proceso de camine y vaya y ver dónde se pasa y dónde se sale para uno y dónde se va para el otro. Y mirar que si uno está 20 a 40, a cuál le da prioridad. Una cantidad, o sea, es que es infinita la cantidad de posibilidades que tiene uno para hacer roaming. Entonces, lo que él hizo, configuró dos APs, ahorita igual lo paso para que nos explique mejor, pero configuró dos APs y creó un script, uno que sube transmit power y otro que lo baja. Y entonces para que vaya un AP bajando y el otro subiendo, básicamente, y que se crucen, ¿sí? Entonces va a estar uno arriba, uno abajo, y entonces ya las diferentes variaciones que un AP se queda arriba, el otro va subiendo, y ya ese llega arriba y el otro va bajando, entonces forza al cliente a hacer roaming de un AP a otro AP a medida que van bajando y subiendo los añuales sin mover el cliente. Entonces forza el roaming sin necesidad de uno estarse moviendo aquí para allá y de allá para acá. Entonces, a eso me vine a probar un teléfono para hospitales, parece un Zebra, pero no es un Zebra, pero sí tiene sensores y escáneres y la marca es Surobo o Urobo, no me acuerdo. Bueno, es un Android parecido a un Zebra que tiene varias funciones. Entonces necesitamos hacer pruebas para, pues, hacer diseño, para saber cuándo será el diseño. So, Jerry, ¿cómo está tu español?
Sí.
Sí, una cerveza, por favor.
Una cerveza, por favor. A él le gusta el café. Es bueno y sabe bastante de café.
Café.
Café entiende, sí.
Café colombiano.
Un café,
Con
por
saber
favor.
decir
Mario.
Corona es suficiente.
Sí.
Sí, y tiene una máquina expreso que la compró en España, precisamente. Barcelona, la coffee maker.
Yeah, Barcelona. Yeah, Ascaso.
Ascaso. O sea, no le suena familiar, Alejandro. Usted no es cafetero, usted es cervecero, ¿no?
Yo cafetero también soy cafetero. Sí, tengo también un
Ah, sí,
espresso,
también.
pero bueno, de la marca ahorita un poco más por diseño, mi señora compró la marca Smeg.
Smeg.
Smeg, una marca muy así retro, que está muy de moda en Europa.
Ah, bueno.
Tiene todos esos modelos así medio retro de los años 50, 60. Entonces,
Ajá.
son refrigeradores, máquinas de café, o antiguos, que uno se veía muy antiguo.
Sí, sí.
Así que bueno, sí, pero sí, soy cafetero. Tengo un expreso, una máquina expreso, donde uno muele el café, tengo para moler el grano, muele el café, hace su café propio, lo pone a diferentes gramos, o sea, y con un poco de
Él lo pesa
presión.
también. Pone el
Sí,
café,
sí.
you
Sí, sí.
weigh it, and then it's got like it has to be the exact weight, and it's
12
fancy.
gramos, 12 gramos de café.
This like more aggressive, more personalized than Starbucks, you know.
Yeah.
Nowadays, Starbucks just volume, you know, get people in and out. He's like, you know, like, you want coffee? Like, sure. And then like ready for my coffee, like then he starts weighing
You have different
grinding
blends
the
and
beans, and
yeah,
then
you have
doing this to
different
the
grind.
bean. Yeah, and then like steaming the milk, or I don't know, doing like it's a whole process.
Yeah.
He's got it all
But you,
mastered.
The
but
pressure
you know that
adds.
It's a hobby.
Yeah, good hobby.
You know, it's my
Sí,
second
pero
hobby.
Wi-Fi and
se nota
coffee.
la diferencia. No, para mí
Yeah.
es Wi-Fi, café y cerveza. Bueno, por ahí café, Wi-Fi y cerveza. No, al revés. Wi-Fi, cerveza y café.
Wi-Fi, cerveza y café.
El café. El café para después cuando uno ya está pasado de cerveza, para bajar un poquito el efecto.
Oh, el efecto. All right, well, Jerry, it's 12:08 in here in Wisconsin. So, well, I think, have you been with us before, Tesos?
Me? No. I've,
Oh, really?
It's my first, yeah.
Ooh, well, welcome, man.
I've been, you know, a lurker of Tesos. I've
Uh-huh.
not participated.
All right. So let's see, should we, maybe we move, what, I'm sure you have a better microphone than I do. Here,
Yeah,
let
I
me
can
let
turn
me
the
mute
audio.
mine.
Sure. There we go. You guys hear us okay?
¿Nos oyen bien por acá?
Yep.
Sí. Ah, bueno.
Sí.
All right, so we'll just work off of this computer because, you know, I'm probably going to have you share your screen and stuff. So you know what Tesos is, just group we started that, you know, we just come and hang out and talk about coffee and APs and just stuff.
Sounds like my kind of people.
Yeah. So, and it's usually in español, but, you know, given that your español is limited to sí, and una cerveza, por favor.
Dos cervezas.
Oh, dos cervezas.
Oh.
Un café. Vamos
Café.
mejorando, vamos mejorando.
No, primero dos cervezas y después un café.
Ah.
So first two beers and then one coffee after the beer.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So this will be recorded and uploaded anyway. So the here's the ongoing joke that every time we're going to talk about Ekahau or something we couldn't say online, we'll have to pause the video. So all right, well, Jerry has, like, I mean, so much talk about that a session is not enough to kind of like tell us your story, but you're with Hamina now. You used to be with Aruba, of course, and then Ekahau. You were in Ekahau. For how long were you at Ekahau?
A little over 3 years, 3.5 years, something like that.
3 years.
Yeah.
And then from Ekahau to Hamina, straight jump or something in between?
Ekahau to Aruba, and I was at Aruba for about 3 years as well. And now I've been at Hamina for a year and a half or so, going on 2 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. For how long has Hamina been around? So Hamina started, then you jump after they had already.
Yeah, Hamina was around for a good year plus before I joined them. So yeah, I guess about 3+ years now. I think Hamina's been in existence. Yeah.
So how's it going with Hamina? A lot of cool stuff happening.
Yeah.
I know when they split from Ekahau, they started working heavily on the design portion. We've been talking a lot about Ceros in Tesos because, you know, I've been doing Ceros stuff lately, but they always kind of like the conversations in Tesos. We always Hamina Ceros, and we're always talking about it. And you guys have such a cool, not because you're here, because even if you weren't, you know, we know that. And we've had it in WLPCs in Valencia. We had it in Mexico. Marco did the Hamina survey with us at the stadium and at the high school, and we've done a lot of cool stuff. So yeah, it's and it's unavoidable that, you know, I mean, most of these guys I met through Ekahau. I met you through Ekahau too, because, you know, we were doing stuff back then when you were with Ekahau. But it's now, things have changed in the industry, and you're part of that change. And Hamina is definitely something we have to talk about. And it's nearly impossible to talk about Hamina or Ceros without talking about Ekahau, because we're always trying to compare, you know, and it's part of our journey to learn everything that is out there. So Hamina, tell us about Hamina. What's happening these days in Hamina? What's cool about it? Why don't you share your screen and kind of like...
Yeah, we do that.
So what are the things we struggle with in projects? I mean, and any in the group can intervene, Mario or anybody, but like maps is one of the things we struggle with.
Yeah.
So,
well, my apologies for lack of Spanish speaking, but yeah, happy to talk to you guys about this kind of stuff. I think if I take my Hamina hat off, I mean, I think just in general, being a Wi-Fi enthusiast, technology enthusiast, I think it's awesome to see kind of the the state of things of you know, in this space, that we do have multiple.
Miren el vaso que tengo. Me sirvió café en uno de.
Still one of my favorite coffee cups. Yeah, that's an old school one. But yeah, I think the fact that just we're in this place in the industry of like multiple tool vendors, right, that are producing these tools, producing planning tools, survey tools, spectrum analysis tools, you know, to help us do our jobs. I think it's a good thing. It's a
Market capture.
yeah, it's a healthy thing for the industry to have that competition and stuff to keep driving innovation. So I'm very happy to see that. And I'm sure you guys
And being
are as
part
well.
of it too, you know, because we're not just, I mean, we're kind of like trying to learn everything because one way or another, we're going to have to get familiar with everything that is out there.
Yeah.
But then you're being part of that change.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, obviously we're very motivated at Hamina to kind of improve things in that place, since things were getting a bit, you know, stagnant for a few years. So I think it's good to see there's a lot of stuff going on, obviously, just in general with technology, with AI and everything. Obviously we've, you know, heard that everywhere, but yeah, it's really interesting to see how that can kind of play into our kind of daily jobs of, you know, whether on the design side or the survey side, or, you know, help us basically build better Wi-Fi networks, right? So yeah, as far as Hamina goes, if you're not familiar with it, just quick high level of, yeah, we have a design solution and a survey solution. Big difference, you know, from some of the other stuff that if you're using any of the other kind of competitor offerings out there, the design side is a cloud-based network planner. So that's kind of like what I talk about when, like, you know, look at kind of innovation and, you know, leveraging modern technology, you know, being able to do these cloud applications that we couldn't do, you know, even a few years ago. It's just crazy how much that's kind of revolutionized things. So there's no big, you know, program you have to download and install and maintain, and you got to worry about or my colleagues on the same version that I'm on, you know, all that kind of goes away. Seamless collaboration and everything with the project.
So you cannot create a project in the cloud and like download it to your computer and work offline?
No, yeah.
Okay,
With
that's-
Hamina, it's cloud first. The network planner is in the cloud. So yeah, I mean, there's obviously pros and cons to that, but I'd say there's a lot more pros than cons from my experience with it.
Faster, definitely, huh?
Mhm. Yeah. If you haven't seen it before, I mean, obviously, I'll just grab this project that we have open here. You can see, I mean, how quickly, you know, things will update as we move things around in the environment. We can model things in multiple different ways. Right now, this is using like walls and objects, but since this project even has like survey data in here, that's where we can start to cross the streams, and we can even look at, you know, like, let's say we want to do on the simulation side, I want to simulate using that survey data to learn the environment. I can just click a button, and now it's using that modeling to actually simulate.
So you're not using the walls or
Yeah.
anything.
So you don't have to draw any walls or objects. It's using the survey data that it's now learned that environment. So you have multiple options at your fingertips. Is the beauty of, like, hey, if you got the ability to go on site and do a really thorough survey, you can do that and save yourself some time of not having to then go back and draw all the walls and objects. You can use all that, you know, that effort of, you know, walking the site to allow you to simulate it.
Which then the downside is that if the site doesn't exist, you cannot do this. You have to have a survey to
then
do
you
it.
then you would do your simulation and model all the, you know, environment. You know, maybe
Holy
before.
smokes, who had time to draw all those chairs with the back and the front, the
Yeah.
table?
Yeah. It's just copy and paste, right? You know, you just draw one and copy and paste it.
Oh,
Yeah, if I want to replicate my table and chairs here, copy and paste that.
oh, that's it.
Yeah, move that into the correct location.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you can do several things like that.
Letting you select them. Oh,
Yeah,
there
you
you
can
go.
I should zoom in a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can replicate your furniture and everything
Yeah.
that way.
Really simple.
Yep.
Nice.
What do you think folks would want to see? Some different, like,
So, what do you guys want to see? ¿Hay preguntas o algo que tengan ahí?
live view, AI walls?
The live view. So, tell us about the live view. What does that mean? What do you see live?
Okay, so live view works with several infrastructures. So this is, again, the beauty of the cloud, right? Because we have these now cloud management platforms, as well as we have tools in the cloud. We can leverage things like APIs to have all this stuff talk to each other and suck in all this information very seamlessly. So these are what we've started with as far as cloud managed providers. We're going to be rolling out a few more. We have like things like Aruba Central that's in development right now. That'll be added to the list here very shortly. But let's say we take like one of these already existing ones, like a Juniper Mist, for example, and I can have multiple credentials in here of different accounts, different customers that I support.
Oh, so you connect like to their cloud, to
Their
their
Juniper Mist dashboard. Yep. Yeah. So using just an API key, so you can get multiple API keys and link them with your Hamina account, and that allows me to then talk to that that Juniper Mist account. So in this case, let's go and see if we can pull in and check in on our developers here in our Helsinki office, which hopefully at this time of the day over there, there's not too many people, if anybody, working there. But yeah, if I go in here, I've now selected this site from this Juniper Mist account. I've also selected the floor, so if there's multiple floors, and we just pull that in, and it's going to go over that API, and it's going to pull in a bunch of information. It's going to pull in the floors, the APs, all the APs configuration, and it's going to start to pull in
about clients.
About clients. It's going to pull in how are the APs actually hearing the environment. So we'll get a bunch of different details about what's happening at this site. So that quickly, it's kind of fetched all that information. It's now learned the environment based on how the APs are hearing each other.
So where are those APs in the map coming from? You didn't draw them, you didn't place them there. It comes.
Well, typically the way it would, workflow-wise, the way it would work is you would first do your design in Hamina.
Okay.
And then once you've completed your design, you would export that to that cloud management.
Okay.
We're kind of skipping that step.
Uh-huh.
We're just saying, okay, this site is already deployed, but if it isn't deployed and it's new, you'd start with Hamina, do your design, push it to one of these cloud managed providers, and now that site is actually deployed. Then obviously you need to physically install the APs, but all the configuration work is now done and ready to go. You just need to plug in the APs for them to get their configs.
And then once the APs have been deployed, now they're on site, they have SSIDs, they have clients connected and stuff.
Yeah.
That's when the live thing works, that you go in, get whatever the controller has, and now what we're seeing is from there.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, this is actually deployed APs. These are the APs themselves. If I click on an AP, you can see these are the APs. Here's the AP name. Here's the MAC and serial number. Here's the transmit power of how these APs are currently configured. And here it even is doing a live test of basically seeing, is there any problems going on with that AP of, can it get to the gateway? Can it get to the internet? And is there any kind of packet loss or high latency?
So who's doing that ping? Is it you or is it the AP?
We're initiating it, yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when I click on that AP, it initiates a task with that AP, and it's having that AP actively ping the gateway, actively ping the internet, an IP on the internet, to see if we can get out to the internet, and yeah, how that AP is performing.
So if you click on another AP, like the one at the bottom, either one, yeah. So it just stops pinging from the other one, and then
yes, exactly. So yeah, now it's talking to this AP, and it's like, all right, you go out to, show me if you're having any issues reaching the gateway or the internet. It's going to show me if there's any issues there. It's also going to show me if there's any active clients. So in this case, there's no clients there, but if I come to here, I can already see, there's 3 clients connected on this 2.4 radio. So if we click on this, we should start to see some details about that as well. So yeah, there you go. There's your 3 clients that are connected. Here's each of their signal strengths, what bands they're connected on, what SSIDs they're connected on, even some details about the AP, like how long that AP has been up, the firmware.
So what if you click on one of the clients? Can you see anything?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I can see now details about it. Now it's actually shifted over to testing the connectivity of the client itself.
Oh.
So now instead of it testing the connectivity of the AP, now it's saying, okay, are we able to ping the client? What kind of response times are we getting from the client? What kind of signal does the client have? What's the channel utilization of the channel the client's connected on? How many other clients are there? And then a bunch of other details about like transmit and receive.
On the channel is at the bottom, right? Channel 11?
Yes. Yeah, you can see here 2.4 channel 11. Oh, yes. And also right here, you can see it there as well. Yeah.
Is that ping going from the AP to the client?
Yeah, good question. Yes, exactly. That's going from the AP to the client.
Okay.
So we're initiating a ping test, basically trying to see, is there something going on with the RF side of things, right? Is this an RF issue that the client is experiencing, or is there something further upstream, like a network connectivity issue that's causing poor connectivity, slow Wi-Fi, that kind of thing?
So you showed, who was it? Arista, Ruckus, Mist, and
These are the 4 today. Arista, Meraki, Mist, and Ruckus 1.
hey, Ruckus, Diego.
Diego, he actually asked a question.
Yeah,
Hey,
Right
Jerry.
now.
Diego.
Now, no, Diego's not turning the camera on, but
He's hiding.
like,
Yeah.
hey,
Hello,
Hi,
Jerry.
Tom.
Hello, guys.
Hey.
Diego,
How was today?
Diego, ahí me perdona, pero felicitaciones a Diego que recién tuvo un nuevo heredero. He had a newborn, not
Oh,
him. He
felicidades,
had a
Diego.
baby. Yeah.
Bueno,
had a baby.
felicitaciones, Diego. ¿Se sabe quién es el padre?
Enhorabuena, parcero. Felicitaciones.
¿Se sabe
Claro.
quién es el
Gracias,
padre,
gracias.
Diego?
Sí. ¿Y cómo me va a
Gracias a
llamar,
todos.
Dieguito?
Juan Diego.
Juan
Dieguito. Hay que
Ahora sí, no le
preguntarle al
vayan a
padre.
poner Fernet porque ahí sí se lo tiran, pobrecito.
Padre, claro, no hace que
Diego,
sea tu padre.
bueno. Dieguito, claro, Junior. Felicitaciones,
Fel-
parcero. ¿Todo bien?
Gracias.
La mamá, el
Diego,
niño,
¿ya, ya incluye CWN number?
ya nació.
Ya.
Es el primero, Diego.
Segundo.
Segundo, bueno,
Ya
felicitaciones.
la parejita.
Ah,
Ya la
listo.
parejita.
Bien.
Ya niño.
Es una niña,
Gracias.
una niña.
Ahorita un niño. Ya tenía una
Muy
niña de 5 añitos.
Perfecto, bueno, felicitaciones.
Enhorabuena,
Enhorabuena, como
Diego.
dicen.
Gracias, parcero.
So Ruckus One, I assume,
Yeah.
can you connect this to a controller? It has to be some cloud.
Yeah,
For
but-
now it has to be
But I
online.
have a question, Jerry.
Yeah.
The information is the same into any cloud. Maybe Ruckus Cloud or Meraki, that information is the same.
Between like the different vendors, between like Juniper and
Yeah.
So what do you see, like the client, the channel, all that stuff?
Yeah, let me show
Yeah,
you.
that
Let's
is
do
my
a new
question.
project. We'll just call this one R1. And let me pull in. We do have a Ruckus One account set up at
Ruckus. We don't say Ruckus. Say
Ruckus.
Ruckus.
Ruckus. I'll pull in the same site, but we have some Ruckus APs set up there as well. So yeah, similar, but yes, it does vary vendor to vendor of what APIs they provide us and what level of information we can get. So yeah, you'll see same kind of thing where I can do this client test, a little bit different information, but pretty similar. You can see SNR and signal of how the AP is hearing that client. So yeah, we're doing those kind of connectivity tests. It looks like, yeah, it doesn't give me the ping test here. So yeah, that's one of the things that we don't have today, but some of the stuff is just either in development, either on our side or with Ruckus about enabling some of those APIs for us to get that, that detail. But yeah, it's very similar. So you can see, it pulls in the floor plans, pulls in all the APs. I can see these are R770s. One thing it doesn't provide, I know today, is the power levels. That's why these are red, is the API doesn't provide us with the radio's power levels. So we just show kind of some default power levels, but it does show what the channels are configured and the channel width. But yeah, I think that's something that's kind of in progress right now, is getting that implemented so we can pull the power levels for each of the radios.
And this is
But that
not
would-
getting that information from the beacons. This is directly from the controller telling you stuff about that stuff, about the APs.
Yes. And you can see this is even showing me what switch the AP is connected to. So that's all coming from Ruckus One.
Oh, is that LLDP or one of those things?
I think it's I don't know exactly if it's using LLDP to determine that, probably initially, but the AP is reporting,
It's
hey,
the
here's
one.
the switch that I'm connected to.
Okay.
Yeah.
When it comes to the transmit power not showing the accurate information or the actual value, I'm assuming that's a limitation when it comes to the API that Ruckus provides, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Some of the stuff just comes down to they haven't built out the APIs for us to pull a specific information that we're requesting. So yeah, it's usually just kind of, okay, you need to add this to your APIs, add these API endpoints, and then we can pull that information, later on once they add that.
Okay.
Didn't you guys win something because of this live thing at WPC or somewhere?
Yeah, there was an award at WPC. I think it might have been related to live view.
For the live view.
Yeah.
This is really cool.
Mhm.
I mean, I would never thought of seeing stuff from the actual infrastructure on a survey tool.
Yeah.
Survey, just go survey, and whatever you have is whatever.
So that's a good point. Like, what's the purpose of this, right? And I think the coolest part to me, if we go back to the, you know, what we've had traditionally, right, for years, is we have network design tools and site survey tools, and then from there, you know, you've got some dashboards and some logs and things like that you've got to try to decipher what all that means, but there's not really a good way to visualize it. Where I see the live view sitting is kind of right in between these two, and now giving you some visibility remotely without needing to do that truck roll, go on site, do a full site survey just to see, oh, the channels aren't configured correctly, or you've got some channel interference.
Or missing APs.
Yeah, or an AP's offline or malfunctioning or something like that. You can glean a lot of that from there. Or like, yeah, network connectivity issues or something. You can get a lot of insights without actually needing to do that truck roll and go on site. Or at least to determine, do I need to go on site because there is something RF-wise going on here that I need to investigate more closely.
Sweet.
Yeah, and like here's a good example, like to Ferne's point, notice the X's here. So these are R770s, which are capable of 6 gigahertz,
But it's off.
but the 6 gigahertz radio is disabled. So yeah, it could be, you know, the 5 gigahertz or 2.4, like something's misconfigured that's caused those radios to be disabled. We can see all that through that live view.
Nice. ¿Preguntas? ¿Comentarios?
Yeah, I do
Jerry,
have.
Jerry, have you ever think about also viewing or allow us to check the low data rates? Because that's something happened a
like the
lot
config.
on K-12 or on my scenarios.
Mhm.
Is where this they avoid sometimes the school districts avoid the wireless design, right? And they
Yeah.
just decided to like having an access point per room.
Hey, we'll put in a feature and a feature request, and probably will be there by Monday, huh?
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, that would that would be great because that would allow us
Yeah,
to see
that'll be a good one to
Yeah.
just show.
data rates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's, you're definitely on the right track of like, that's kind of the next step of this, right? Is like, okay, what other information can we pull in and what would be useful information? And yeah, I think configuration stuff is definitely kind of the
Yeah.
next step of that. I know we've already got, at least on some of the instances, we can pull in like what SSIDs, I think on Meraki, let me show you a Meraki one real quick. I think with that one, we can pull in like what SSIDs are configured on which radios, so we can at least start to see some of that config info.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the API allows you to do that.
Okay, yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yep. So if I come into here, let me just see, because I remember seeing that recently. We just added that. So this same kind of concept. This is just using a Meraki one now. Very similar info and capabilities. So that's the cool thing is, yeah, we're kind of working with all these different vendors. If they don't have the APIs in place, honestly, usually they're like, just tell us what APIs you need and we'll add the endpoints for them. So they're very willing to add this kind of stuff because, yeah, really they would rather offload a lot of this kind of stuff from their side. Yeah, so here in the Meraki, you can see, I can now at least start to see, okay, what SSIDs are configured on these APs. And if I want to see, maybe there's multiple SSIDs and I want to validate, is that SSID deployed in all the correct locations, especially if maybe there's only, like a guest SSID that's only supposed to be deployed on certain APs. I can see that. Normally in the past, we would have had to go do a site survey and see where that SSID is deployed. Now I can do that just through the live view. Here's a good example too of like maybe some misconfiguration. You can see both of these APs adjacent to each other.
Oh, no, that's normal in Meraki. Yeah, having two APs, right, Diego? Channel 161.
Can't confirm.
Why
I
do they
can't
like
confirm.
channel
I can't confirm
161
that.
so much?
Stop the recording. We can talk there.
Take that off.
And they usually tend to go to channel 36, actually, but okay.
That's true. Yeah, 36 is usually the popular one.
Yeah.
But yeah, even like things like channel utilization is pretty cool because this is showing me live how are the APs hearing the kind of health of the channels that it's on, and if there's any Wi-Fi or non-Wi-Fi energy that's on that air that's causing high channel utilization. And then what you can do is you can just hit this live button again to see, okay, is this sustained or is this something that's kind of coming and going? So every time I click this live button, it does a new API call and pulls the latest data. So especially like if you do go and let's say we change this and fix the channel configuration on these APs, and I want to validate that those changes have been implemented, After I make the change in the Meraki side, I just click the live button and it'll show
Refreshers.
that. Yeah, it'll show.
So show me again where you saw the clients, because that would be really useful, huh, Mario? That you see an AP with 80 users and the
Mhm.
AP next to it with 10 users or 5
Yeah,
users.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because the other,
We actually
what was it? Mist
Yeah,
showed it,
with
right?
Mist. No, with Mist
It's a
it does
Mist or
show it. Yeah.
Ruckus?
With Mist it did show it.
Yeah, because that would be a cool thing to see from here, and then it's like, well, that's why it's low, because
Yep.
you have 100 people connected to one radio.
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't show the client count on this view, but it does show the active clients, so we should be able to add that.
Hoy por ahí anda Julio también, Julio Petrovitch. ¿Qué dice Julio?
Hey, Furnace, aquí todo bien, todo tranquilo. Oh, sorry, we're in English mode today, so apologize for that.
Speak English, my friend. Yeah, talking of integration with other vendors and looking at Mist, stuff from Mist in here. Remember that in Mexico we did it, huh? We did a live capture with the G3.
Yeah.
See, we had the G3 from NetAlly, that you do a survey with this guy, do the AirMapper, and with Julio we've done it before, that you do the survey and then you do the same integration, but in this case it's not going to be with a vendor like Cisco, Meraki, or Ruckus. It's going to be with NetAlly, and then you'll be able to import all of the data that you survey with the G3 or the Cyberscope, and then bring that survey over to Hamina.
Yeah,
and analyze it.
Same concept, except for now we're pulling directly from Link Live. So you can see it's just one of the import options that we have. NetAlly, we go into here. I can select my Link Live account. And then, same kind of thing. I select my organization and choose the floor plans that I want to pull in. Pull let's say actually here, there's one from like
hotel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, same concept. Using APIs, we access the APIs over Link Live, pull in the floor plan and all the measurements, all the survey data.
So I had the question asked because now you can do, you could before. Julio, spectrum analysis. I know we can do standalone spectrum analysis, but on a survey, can you also kind of like have both, or is just one or the other?
Right now, even though you can do both in parallel, they're saved as separate files. So if you site survey with AirMapper, the spectrum data is not included at the as part of that file. You could do a spectrum data measurements in the background and export it separately.
Is it just gonna show you like screenshots, or can you like record a video of the? You can do a screen recording, but can you record the spectrum data on a map?
Not yet, but that's where we're going to. Yeah. With and I think everyone that saw the webcast that we that we hosted not so long ago, with the new NXT 2000, the hardware.
6 gig. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. NXT 2000.
Yeah.
Nice.
I actually might have it with me.
Yeah, the hardware on that new adapter allows us to collect real fast Fourier transform or FFT data, different from our previous adapter that we had. So because of that, we should be able to now add other functionality in the future, like automated interfere identification or recording over time and so on. So yeah, it's, we have it planned for the future. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, we had the webinar. We did it. I was in Bogota a week, but then one of the cool things is that to this guy, you can add this directional antenna.
Nice.
And then with this directional antenna, now you can just aim at a specific place that might be having interference and walk you, like point you in that direction. And then we tried this and it works pretty good, actually.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. All right. So you would be able, as Jerry just showed, just bring up a survey you did with NetAlly and import all the data points in here. And now can you just what else can you do? Now you have that in here. That's a Hamina file, right?
Yep.
Isn't it?
Yeah, so this is a Hamina project. So now that we've imported all the survey data into here, obviously I can analyze it just like I would with all the different heat maps within a normal survey taken from like Hamina on-site, but also then I can report on this as well. So you get the same report editing capabilities that you would in a normal survey project to generate reports based on that using your templates and everything else.
So how do you like you create a report? How you just like choose what you want?
Just give it a name. So we can just call this our Wi-Fi survey report. If you have an existing template that you want to apply to it, we can apply a different template to it. We could just start with no template. I can specify a certain SSID that I want to focus on and target as, for that customer. And then we say create. That quickly the report's created. I could even, create a share link to this, and I can share this into here. Let me actually create a share link without a password.
Without, disable password.
And that way I can just throw this into chat, and this easily, you can see if anybody wants to click on the random link that I put into chat. That'll pull up the report, right? But what's cool is, let's say I didn't finish like editing the report. Like maybe I want to clean this up and make this a lot simpler. So I'm going to remove the summary section here, and I don't have to like regenerate this, resend a link. I'll just click that link in chat, and you can see the report's already updated. It removed that summary section, and now it just goes right to the AP placement. If I even want to get rid of like the AP placement, for example, I could do that as well. And now I just come back to here and refresh that. And you can see now it takes me right to the coverage view.
Oh, so whatever you click on the little eye, it just doesn't show it on the.
Yeah, I'm just hiding those pages from the shared report side of things.
But then on the same token, you can just enable it again, and then people without a new link or anything can just refresh. And
and let's say I want to do some branding, throw a logo on here. I could add, text or even change like the name of the report. All I have to do now is just refresh that, and now you can see that shows up on the other end.
Your customer or your company, if you're an integrator, you can have your logo there, or
brand it, some custom branding and stuff on there.
Can the customers do anything with this thing, like move the APs or?
They can't make any changes to it. They can interact with it. They can click on like the individual APs. They can.
Oh wait, so this is like a report that you just don't see the image. You can actually click on the APs, look at SSIDs, channel widths. You're gonna have to kind of like show the customer that, or else they're gonna think it's just that map, right?
Yeah.
So it's some basic training, but really basic.
Yeah, and like sometimes that's all they need, right? It's just this kind of high level overview, but then the people that are more technical, they know what to look for of, click on the APs. And to, what was it, Mario? Is that who raised that about like the data rates? We do have that already on the survey side, so you can see that min data rate in the report side or the survey side of things. It will show you how that's configured today. But yeah, I totally hear you on like the live view side. We should bring that out, and even in the survey side, I'd like to see that in more of like a tabular format than just the interactive method.
Quick question. I know, Diego left, but he asked that if live monitoring is supported by the planner license, or do you need a planner plus license?
So what do you mean planner? Like, how many licenses do you have then? Tell us about it.
So there's two different planner licenses. There's our we'll say standard planner, and then there's the planner plus. And the main difference between those is the planner plus includes more advanced features at the high level.
Like what?
So there's a bunch of different features. This is kind of for the most part, pretty
too long didn't read, man. Tell us what the features are, right?
Yeah, exactly. The number one is that live view. So that live view is part of Planner Plus. So you do need a Planner Plus license to be able to enable that live view functionality. But that's all you need. You don't need obviously any hardware or anything to enable that. So yeah, you're just looking at the 1,560 USD per year.
On Planner, can you switch back to the other place where you have Planner? One of the things that has been fascinating about Hamina, I almost said Eka, how?
I never.
Hamina from the beginning is the 3D views, and it looks very pretty. And I think one of the things that since the beginning, I think now everybody's playing catch with like Eka. I was trying to copy things you're doing. Cedos, things are looking similar, but you started doing design. So you have a lot of these cool things and smooth visualizations, the antenna patterns. You see the 3D antenna patterns.
Yeah.
Is that something on the Planner Plus only?
That's on the free version.
Oh, on the free one.
Yeah, you don't even have to have a paid account to be able to come in and see.
Free as in like anybody will go create an
Yeah,
account
so-
and get a free account?
Yeah, if I come into here and we just go to like the simulation side, yeah, anybody can come sign up for a free Hamina account. We call it a Hamina Lite account. And then yeah, you can come in here and you can see, okay, what APs do you support, and what do the antenna patterns look like for each of these APs? And you can just scroll through the list and see all those. By default, I think we don't show those by default. So you just have to go to your preferences here, and then our preferences flip on the internal antenna pattern viewer. Otherwise, by default, it only shows like external antennas in 3D.
Okay, just the flat,
Yeah.
the flat things on the others.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, see, now if you don't have a Hamina account, you can go create a free one. So what are the limitations of the free one?
Well, the biggest limitation of the Hamina Lite
That's
account is going to be that you can only place up to 3 access points on a
okay.
design.
How
So
about walls?
you can drop to 120 wall segments. So there's a limitation there as well. There's no like time limit or anything like that. So
It doesn't expire?
Yeah, if you sign up for a Hamina account, it's always going to be there. You can create projects. Those projects are always going to be there. It's just limited on
Can
what
you create reports?
You can't create reports. Yeah, it's just a basic like the
play
idea
with.
behind it. Yeah, it's to try it out, and it's like if you just need to design Wi-Fi for your home, you shouldn't need to pay for the product. Like it's a free network planning tool for really
Just
design.
draw really long walls so you don't have to draw multiple walls and wear out the 120 of it.
Hey, if it's a big square, yeah.
Hey, if it's a 3 dB wall and a 3 dB door, like just
Yeah.
draw one line across.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't
Yeah.
think we can do like export or import of the floor plans, right, with the live version.
So Francisco is from Cisco. He's one of the Cisco gurus that helps us and teaches us here
Nice.
stuff. So
Yeah.
Then,
Yeah. So there's a full comprehensive list here. If we go on the pricing page, if you go to compare all features, you'll see, yeah, the light version does have quite a few restrictions. But the cool part about it is that, yeah, anybody can sign up for a free Hamina account. Just requires a quick email verification. You don't have to put in a credit card. So it's not like a trial account. It just has a lot of restrictions. And then when you hit those restrictions, if you need those capabilities, that's when you could look at, okay, I'll pick up a 6-month subscription of Planner or Planner Plus, and then you get full functionality to all the tools for that duration. And then the other cool part about it is that we've kind of taken a fresh approach to that of like not punishing you if, let's say, you let your subscription lapse. So let's say you sign up for a 6-month subscription. At the end of the 6 months, you don't have any projects that you need to start. Let your subscription lapse. You'll still get access to all of your previous projects to be able to view them. We don't like delete your projects or restrict you, like hold them hostage.
just hold them hostage.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can always pick up a new subscription when you're ready to, do another project. And we don't backdate it or penalize you for doing that or letting your subscription lapse. So yeah, a lot of flexibility there. Try to, be kind to our customers in that regard, and just, you just pay for what you use.
yeah, remember that. So actually, Jerry, question for you. Can you show how Hamina planning talks or relate to the AFC 6 gigahertz for standard power? I know that we have this capability now embedded with Hamina, and I'm kind of curious to see, what is the approach the tool is taking for the channel and power planning based on the geographical location of the deployment?
Yeah, that's a good point, because that's not even listed in our kind of top level kind of bullet point list. But yeah, that would absolutely be the AFC coordination is definitely a Planner Plus feature. But that is a unique feature to Hamina that I haven't seen any other tools doing yet. I think Hamina is one of the only ones. But yeah, you said you're at Cisco?
Yes.
I'll show you. I did this little AFC demo for some folks at the RTP in Raleigh, North Carolina. So this is actually Cisco's offices here at RTP. And yeah, we did a little outdoor design using 6 gigahertz and AFC coordination. So the way this works, it's actually really simple. All I have to do to enable AFC is put in 2 GPS coordinates. So I just punch in the address of what I'm designing.
So where would you get those coordinates from?
Just out of Google Maps.
Go to Google.
So yeah, if you just go
Google
to Google Maps, we'll do Cisco RTP. And let's go to, yeah, like building 3 here. And you can see this is that same, floor plan that I used. So that's literally all I used was just a screenshot out of Google Earth, Google Maps.
So sure, so you get the
Yeah,
coordinates.
to get the coordinates, you just pick, let's say I usually try to find like a corner, something that I can easily match to. And then I just right click and literally just click that. And now I've
Oh,
got the
they're
coordinates.
copied to the clipboard, that's it?
And you just right click and click the coordinates, and now it's copied that to my clipboard. So now if I came in here and I paste that, you can see it's already formatted correctly for Hamina. So then I would just come over to Hamina, close that out, and I can just paste that into there. But that's not the right one. So cancel that. But yeah, that's how you do it. And if I wanted to add another GPS coordinate position, we just come over here, say GPS coordinates, but you only need 2. So it's pretty simple to do.
Is this like as far apart as possible, or does it matter?
I think it might tell you if they're too close. Yeah, I mean, usually I try to just out of habit, like kind of space those apart pretty far. But yeah, you can see I've got one here. What's the other one? Turn off some of these layers here. Oh yeah, here's the other one. Yeah.
Okay.
So I just put one GPS coordinate there, one GPS coordinate there. And what that's for is because AFC, automated frequency coordination, needs a where in the world reference, of what we're planning for. And then the cool part about it, if you're familiar with the whole AFC thing, is that APs that support 6 gigahertz, they have to phone home to an AFC coordination every 24 hours, once every 24 hours, and say, what frequencies can I use? What power levels can I use on each of those frequencies? And that's what the AFC database is providing them. And they have to do that every 24 hours.
So right now, so you created a project, floor plan, gave it a scale, drew some walls, and you're doing design. Now you added those GPS coordinates, and then is this like checking live with some database somewhere?
That's the cool part about it. This then is simulating these APs and saying, what if I install an AP here? What response is it going to get from that AFC database if I install an AP at this location at this height? So let's do that.
So if I'm a customer and I'm doing this, like let's say Francisco is doing a design like this, does he have to set up his Hamina account to interact with the AFC?
No, Hamina's
something
already
you're
set up.
doing.
Yeah, Hamina's already has a connection with AFC database, which is Wi-Fi alliances. But it doesn't matter. All the data is the same. That's just what Hamina is partnered with, and we have an API integration into that database. It's the same exact concept of what these APs are doing.
Yeah.
Right. When these APs have to phone home, they have to talk to a controller that then talks to that AFC database that tells them what they can use based on those GPS coordinates of where that AP is. So now that we've put those reference points on the map, that means when I place an AP, that AP knows its GPS coordinates of where in the world it is. But it also matters not just latitude and longitude, but also vertically. What's the height? So yeah, if we set this AP at a specific height, now check this out. If I go to AFC up on the top here, this is going to tell me it's going to check in with that AFC database and show me what power levels and everything that I can use for this. Let me see, do I have AFC? Yeah, so here's that automatic frequency coordination is enabled. And then if we use an AP that supports 6 gigahertz, which right now this is on not a 6 gigahertz cable AP, it's a 9130.
Oh, yeah.
So let's find a 6 gigahertz. Here we can use like IW. Which one?
Of those. You can use the IW 9167, the one that is right on the bottom. That's the one we're using. Yep.
Yeah. So grab this guy. You can put whatever antenna on there that you want. You've got all the Cisco antennas. Let's grab like that IW antenna. This one actually works really nice. So if we want to aim that, and then what this is going to do is going to automatically check in with that AFC and tell me, okay, this black line here, that's what the AP is currently configured to use. Here's the headroom that we have. So right now we're operating this thing at a little above 20 dBm. I can actually go all the way up to 45 dBm EIRP for a standard power AP on 6 gigahertz.
So that green shadow that we see there, that's not Hamina putting it there. It's Hamina going to the AFC, coming back and telling me that I can use it there.
Yeah, this is what AFC is saying is allowed. This is what the AP is using. Now it will factor that in though when it does its channel planning. So right now it's just one AP, so it's pretty simple. But what happens when we start, building out like a dense AP deployment? And we've got to now factor in all the incumbents and everything that might be out here. And then figuring out what our channel configuration is going to be gets a bit tricky, even more tricky than usual.
So in the background, while you're placing these APs, it's going to AFC and checking?
Yeah, every time I place an AP, every time I move an AP, every time I change the height of an AP, all of that requires a re-talking to AFC to see how does that impact what we can do here. So now that we've got a bunch of APs on here, let's see, there's our kind of coverage. So you can see that's what things are starting to look like. Now, if I go back to AFC, we can see here's all the APs and what they're configured at. It's still talking to AFC right now. So we'll see, hopefully that'll probably refresh here. There we go.
There we go.
Oh, and now it just reconfigured.
Yeah.
So that's what I was expecting. So you can see it just dropped the channel widths of those APs because it said, okay, based on the response we got from AFC and the number of radios that we have, here's going to be the recommended channel width. And you can see some of these are getting pretty close, like this AP here. There's some incumbents. And I can go over to the PSD side of things and we can see which channels have incumbents. So you can see there's quite a few incumbents here that are going to impact, depending on the channel width that we're using, what power levels we can configure those 6 gigahertz radios on. So yeah, this is a really good example of, how many different incumbents can be out there, especially when you put all these APs at different heights and different locations. You can see all that kind of.
I think what's remarkable is that the customer doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You're designing in a real environment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think it's really cool what I can see on the tool because it gives me a perspective of how that could really look in real life. Obviously, as Jerry mentioned, this is a query that goes through the AFC every 24 hours, and that can change. I have seen that personally, that change a little bit based on the incumbents on that environment, and that's why we have those coordinates, right, to really query the closest or the local AFC provider to give you kind of this estimate based on the incumbents. I really like what I'm seeing here because I don't have this Planner Plus license. I would love to, but I really like to see what is being displayed here. Awesome.
Cool. Well, if anybody does want to try any of this stuff out, or you have a project that you'd like to kick the tires on it, please reach out. I'd be happy to set you up with a trial license, and you can, create a project. I'll get you a fully functional, 30-day trial for the Network Planner Plus.
There we go, Francisco. There's your answer.
Yeah.
Get you one.
I will certainly reach out to you. Maybe just
happy to help you guys out.
Cool.
Wow, lots of cool stuff.
Yeah, and I haven't seen any other tools doing anything with that. And I mean, if anybody's doing 6 gigahertz outdoors, the new considerations and challenges that come with that. So any tools that can help with that, I think is really important.
Now, this applies in the US, right? There any other countries that you would have to worry?
Canada and US, and I think there's a few others that are rolling out. AFC, I don't know where.
Brazil, maybe?
Well, I think Brazil, there's a few, a few countries, and it might be Brazil.
Very limited these days, but Canada,
Yes.
US, probably Brazil. I don't think in Europe yet AFC has been officially approved.
Yeah.
But it's coming.
Yes, some of the stuff is still in flight, but if you're starting to plan for it, it's good to be familiar with this stuff.
All right. Wow. Cool stuff. Any other questions para Jerry? There's so much. 1 hour is not enough.
Yeah.
4 hours is not enough. A day is not
Have you
enough.
seen the AI walls and stuff? Should I show
No.
that real quick?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let me show you one last thing here. One more thing, right?
Yeah.
We'll just call this one test. So these are new features that we just put into production pretty recently. If anybody saw some of our stuff from WLPC in the US, we did some of this, but I think this is the coolest part to me is how often do we get, floor plans like this? That's just a picture of a floor plan or something, and we've got to try to do a design off of this. We've added some new capabilities recently using the whole AI machine learning type stuff to try and do some useful things with that technology. And I think what we've kind of started with is pretty mind-blowing to me, at least.
Yeah, because that's definitely a picture. That's not a file.
So first thing it's doing in the bottom right, analyzing the scale. So check this out. It just auto-scaled this map for me, which is literally just a picture of some floor plan with a bunch of drawings on it. It was able to determine what the scale of this floor plan is. And then 2, it's automatically picked up there's walls in here. So if I hit the walls that quickly, it's figured out where all these walls and objects and stuff are in this building. And then if I want to actually have it draw those walls in for me, I just hit the accept button and watch how fast it's now drawn in, not just all the walls, but doors on a picture of a floor plan. And then
How accurate is it?
I mean, it's not perfect, but I found it to be.
Hey, put it back on
incredibly
3D again. Put it back on 3D again. Well, it's got the doors right there.
Yeah.
It missed the
Yeah.
basketball hoop.
Yeah, it doesn't detect basketball
You don't
hoops
need
yet.
Dan Jones to draw all the basketball hoops.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, this is definitely still early days. I mean, obviously it'll get better over time, but I've been very impressed with like stuff. Even like over here, you can see like where somebody like drew on here with like markers. It knew like that's not a wall,
yeah.
right? Like you can see it still drew walls even across where somebody like sketched on top of this thing. It was still able to figure out that that's a wall, that's not a wall. So like there's definitely a lot of intelligence. You know, it didn't do a perfect job. There's still a few walls, you know, that it did miss. But honestly, yeah, I mean, the ones that it did pick up, it did it accurately where I don't have to do a lot of.
You know, I'm impressed because I thought he was going to draw walls on those X's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you would think that it seems to do a
Looks
pretty
like
good
a
job.
wall.
Now it does also detect the scale, or not the scale. It does detect the scope zones as well as what we call like a
Areas?
yeah, the areas or like the perimeter area. So you kind of see this glowing thing that's kind of chasing around the map. It's saying, hey, is this the perimeter of the building? Is this kind of the extents of the building? And if it did a good job with it, you can just hit accept. And now it's drawn that in. Now here it did get a little bit confused with that marker drawing on there, but we can always go clean that up, or I can just delete that scope zone and draw my own. But yeah, from there, I mean, what I've done like 3 clicks so far, and then I could come into here, and if I want to just do like a rough budgetary number, let's do what, Cisco
9166.
yeah, here we'll do 9166. Start the auto plan, and that quickly, you know, it'll come up with some budgetary numbers for me of like how many APs is it going to take to do a proper design in the sense of primary and secondary coverage. You know, how many APs would it take for an environment like this? I mean, that was literally like I think maybe 5 clicks to getting to the state, and now it's already come up with, all right, planning assistant finished, 33 APs would be needed. Here's the suggested channel configuration, 20 megahertz on 5 gigahertz, 40 megahertz on 6 gigahertz. And, you know, it's not going to be, again, picture perfect. I'm going to probably move some of these APs around. Obviously, like the gymnasium here, you know, I might want to put a few more APs or something in there. But either way, it should save us a lot of time. If I want to move this AP maybe into here, maybe I move this AP into here, you know, you can do all that quickly.
Sweet.
Is that part of the what's it called, the design lights?
Planner.
Plus,
This is all part of Planner.
Plan.
Yeah,
Okay.
Planner.
Oh, just Planner.
Yeah. So
Basic.
we decided like these again, like basic or standard versus advanced features. The decision was like these are considered standard features. These aren't advanced user kind of features, because really that's the purpose of these AI things, right? Is to, you know, make things more efficient. It's not like an advanced, you know, type tool.
Okay.
Impressive.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Bueno, I think with that, we start getting to the end of the, or at the top of the hour. We cover a lot. Julio, gracias por venir. Is Julio around? Yeah, Julio's still around. Thanks to Julio for coming and sharing with us too.
Sure, no worries.
Yeah, well, we have so much more to do with NetAlly, with Hamina, with Cedos, with everybody. Okay, well, Diego, felicitaciones. I think with this we get to the end of Sesión 254, 154 sessions, yeah. And then, so today we covered, we talked about Hamina, what it does with AFC, what it does in design using AI to import walls, to create an automatic design and scopes. I think it was very remarkable, the AFC stuff, just knowing that you guys have already established relationships with Wi-Fi Alliance, right? To get the
Yep.
AFC. How many AFCs then we have in the US? Like
Providers, I think
yeah,
there's
7.
3,
Isn't it?
4, maybe there's 7. I don't know.
I think at one
know
point
at least 3 or 4.
there were 7, but yeah, Wi-Fi Alliance, CommScope. Is it CommScope or Broadcom?
Yeah, there's a few
Broadcore?
weird ones like I want to say like Sony or
Something.
something.
Oh yeah, Sony's one. The
Yeah.
something Federation.
Yep.
Federation.
Federated Wireless. or something like
Federated
that.
Wireless.
Mhm.
There are like 7 of them. For those who are outside of the US, the AFC stuff is automatic frequency coordination. It's like this database in the government that will verify that if you're going to place an AP out there, you have to make sure that you're not stepping on somebody else's frequency, and then it will come back and tell you you can use this channel, as Jerry showed, at these power levels and on these channel widths, and you have to do that every 24 hours. It's kind of like DFS, that the devices know that those channels are not for Wi-Fi, somebody else, a radar system, and then if you detect energy, you automatically move, but that's on the AP. This is like DFS, but somebody else manages the frequency and make sure that nobody is stepping on the incumbents.
And this is specifically for standard power AP.
Standard
So with
power.
6 gigahertz APs, right, we have these new classes of APs of LPI, low power indoor. AFC is not part of that. You don't need AFC coordination all for low power indoor, but obviously there's also lots of restrictions with those APs of they can only be indoors and all that stuff. They can't have external detachable antennas. But
And
then with
enclosures.
yeah, but then with standard power, you get all sorts of freedom of, oh, you can put this outdoors. You can now use detachable external antennas. Oh, but you also have to talk to an AFC
Make sure you
to actually be able to use that 6 gigahertz radio. And if you don't, it automatically shuts off the 6 gigahertz radio if it doesn't get that information from AFC, an AFC provider, every 24 hours.
Does that mean then is Francisco still around? Francisco.
Yes, I'm still here. Yeah,
So
sorry.
if you get an Cisco 6 gig standard power AP, and let's say you take it to Europe, can you, I mean, will it work, or it just won't work in 6 gig because it's
can't.
standard power?
Yeah,
You
the 6
can,
gig.
because the AP already has like a regulatory domain thing, right? So I think you can operate it just on that specific country, right? But Wi-Fi 7, like we're bringing a unified PID, like it doesn't matter if the AP is operated in the US. If you want to ship it to Europe, I mean, as long as you set it to a factory defaults, it will be deleting the country code so you can use it there. I guess more from a 6 gigahertz perspective is the latitude and longitude. Like these outdoor APs have already like GNSS, GPS modules integrated, so that what is required from a regulation standpoint to be able to operate and comply with a 6 gigahertz standard power.
That's a whole other monster, huh?
Yeah.
Trying to figure out all the regulations and stuff.
Yeah.
So now you cannot just come to the US, buy APs and take them somewhere else, because then they're going to have certain restrictions, stricter restrictions.
Yeah. Especially with the 6 gigahertz, you might be able to still use it on like 2.4 and 5, but probably the 6 gigahertz radio
Yeah.
will be
Because one of the
disabled.
things we had in Colombia, I don't know, a couple of years ago, is that even though it was approved to use the 1.2 gigs of spectrum and 6 gig in Colombia, an iPhone or a computer that was 6 gig capable would just come in, and as soon as it detected APs beaconing with regulatory domain Colombia, it will shut off the 6 gig radio.
Interesting.
So it took
That's
a while.
probably updated now.
Yeah, it's been updated now. Now it works, but we're going through that in multiple places.
Yep.
All right, I guess what else do we have? I think that's it. So, gracias Jerry, gracias Julio, todos los que vinieron hoy. Ya saben, se les quiere gratis. Nos vemos la próxima semana. Hoy es viernes 11 de abril. Yo con eso llegamos al final de la sesión. Diego, enhorabuena, parcero. Ya con el bebito. Ahora a dormir sabroso. Yeah, I don't think you're going to be sleeping much now with a newborn in the house. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you next week. Feliz fin de semana para todos. Adiós.
Gracias.
See you guys.
Gracias, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
¡Hey, Celso!
Ahí está.
¿Qué dice mi negro?
Vamos.
¿Bien o qué,
Bien,
parcero?
bien, mi gente. Bien, ¿cómo vamos?
Bien, en la buena. ¿Qué anda haciendo?
Bueno.
Ahí va para la casa.
¿Almorzar
Aquí
con
ya
caldo de pescado o qué?
regreso el camello, sí, a almorzar, afirma.
Ah, bueno, bacano.
Coge al mediodía, siempre me coge enredadito, pero
Ah, bueno.
intentamos siempre
Claro, claro, parcero, gracias
conectarnos.
por venir.
No, no, gracias a ustedes por la invitación.
Claro, ahí nos hablamos.
Estás en casa
Bueno,
de
ahí
Jerry.
estamos, mi gente.